Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome on the channel of Freedom of Blue. My name is Oliver and today I'm gonna present you the very basics of Wargame AirLand Battle. I've noticed a lot of players have bought this game and have literally no clue what to do, which is kind of obvious due to the lack of a tutorial in the current beta version. So I'm doing a very basic tutorial, and the first thing you'll see is a login screen. You create your account and hop into the game. That's pretty straightforward. I think everyone will get that done. And now the first thing you should do is going into the options menu, and this game has a very complicated user interface, but you will get used to it after some time. So on the left side here you have all your controls, where you can change through the different menus, and on the right side here you've got your friend list and the chat functionality of the game, and on the right side here you've got the actual chat, but we'll go into the chat a bit later on. We're now in the options menu, and the first thing you should do is set mouse border scroll to yes, which is on no by default, so that you can scroll by moving the mouse to the edges of your screen. I think most people prefer that. Some of you may not. You don't have to do that, but I highly recommend that because it's kind of standard. Don't forget to hit apply after you have done your changes. And the second thing you should do is going into the interface menu, and now this is very important. Okay, I'm just looking for it. It's changed. Yeah. So by default this is set to AirLand Battle. Now this is something you don't want. It will drive you nuts. It's just a really big clusterfuck. So the first thing you should do is setting this to European escalation. If you are a bit more advanced in the game, you can set this to custom and adapt the user interface all by your own. But for the first, I suggest going to European escalation, which is a lot more clearer style, and you will understand your units a lot better if you're in European escalation user interface style. The AirLand Battle user interface style is a bit harder to understand. Let's say it like that. Click apply after you've done your changes. I won't do that now because it will fuck up my things here. So, and the last thing you want to do is to go to the video options and get depth of field to no. If depth of field is on yes, which is by standard, the whole game will look very ugly. So get that to no. It disables the blur effect while zooming in and out, which is really ugly. So after you've got that done, you probably want to familiarize yourself with your units. Wargame AirLand Battle is set in the Cold War era between 1975 and 1985 and features about 750 units, so you want to get used to them before hopping into a game and being totally overwhelmed by the information you've got and just deploying something you don't even know what it does. So you go onto the profile button here in the middle and then click on deck. Now by standard you will have a few battle groups, which are national battle groups and are preset decks made by Eugene. Now these are national decks. You don't have to play national decks in the game. You can play mixed decks of all NATO forces or mixed decks of all Warsaw Pact forces, but the given ones are preset decks or national decks. Now choose a deck, choose whatever you like. All of them are pretty viable. I'd say the East Germans, the Czechoslovakians and the Polish are a bit less viable than the others. So I'll just try the first one, the Danish battle group, and open this one by double clicking on it, and now you'll see a deck screen. Now the deck includes all the units that you can deploy in the game. You can't deploy all the units that are in game when you're in the game. You only got to deploy the units that are in your deck. Now first of all, those are separated into different sections. The first one is logistics. Logistics features two different kind of vehicles. First one is the command vehicle, which can easily be recognized by the star next to the unit's name. What command vehicles do will be explained later on, just so much they are pretty important. And the second kind of unit that are in the logistics sections are supply vehicles, which will resupply your vehicles with fuel, ammunition, and of course repair them. You can't fiddle around much of those preset decks, they just give you what they have, so you just gotta look at the unit stats a bit. So let's look at the unit stats and how to read them. So I'll just go to the tank section and go to the Leopard 1A3 Denmark, which is a Danish tank, a very mediocre Danish tank, and on the right side you'll now see the specs of that unit. On the top of the unit card you'll have the price in orange letters. In this case it is 50 points, which is pretty mediocre. You can say the cheapest units are 10 and the most expensive are 150, just to give you a feeling of the scope. And you'll have weapon slots, 3 of them. In this case only 2 of them are used. The first one is the main cannon of that tank, which has 2100 meters range against ground, 5 accuracy and 12 P power. Those bars and the colors will give you an idea of whether that's bad or good. Then down there you've got the armor of the tank, front armor, back armor, top and side armor. Again, the colors will give you an idea of whether that's good whether that's good or not. Now down here you've got strength, which means hit points. That should be 10 usually. Very few units have 5 or 15. Size, optics, speed, I think it's all pretty much clear. So take your time to familiarize yourself with your deck, and after you've done this you don't have the option to play solo in the beta version, of that game. You also don't have the option to play against the AI in the beta version of that game, so you're pretty much forced to play a multiplayer game. And I'll just hop into a staged one with a buddy of mine and show you some of the basics in game. So I'm now in the lobby with my mate Q Shadow. Say hello.
Greetings.
And we're now showing you a bit of the basic gameplay of the game. So what you see here is the lobby. On top you see the native players, on the bottom you see the packed players. You can set to be ready right here if you're in the game, so do that if you're ready, and you can select your deck right here. I'm playing with the Danish battle group right here. You can choose whatever you want or whatever you have familiarized yourself with early on. And now we're starting. Need loading screen? Yeah. So first thing you'll see is the map. This is Highway to Oslo, which is a classic map. And the first thing you'll probably notice is that the map is divided into sectors, which all have names, as you can see: Hotel, Foxtrot, Echo, Delta, and so on and so forth. And they have a number on them. This number tells you how many income those sectors give. Obviously, the higher the number, the higher the income. Now, what is income for, you might ask? The first thing you'll do is go into the bottom, top left corner, where the unit menu will open when you click on it. There you can deploy all your units. We'll just go into the tank menu right now and get 2 leopards. If you have selected those leopards, you can drag them around and place them anywhere on the map. Now notice that you have got an FOB, which is a supply depot, and a command vehicle by default. You can sell your FOB by right clicking on it to make another 100 points to deploy. Second thing that is important to remember are command vehicles. Command vehicles are used to capture those sectors and therefore get more income which you can spend on units. And second thing those sectors do is providing you with resupply routes. So you see those arrows right here. Those are the ways that units can come from. So let's say if I capture Bravo, my units can also spawn right here. If I capture Alpha, my units can spawn here. Now, there's a speciality about Hotel and Alpha, your initial starting sectors, which is that those are the only sectors on the map which you can call in airplanes from, which is represented by this very long arrow right here. But more on that later on. And I get some... what am I getting? I'll probably get some tanks, which I'll rush down on the highway. Just to demonstrate you how vulnerable tanks are to infantry. Second thing I'll get is some infantry. Infantry is always important to place in Echo. Some AA, anti-air, this is always very important to defend yourself against airplanes. They've now got 4 tanks, 4 pieces of infantry, and anti-air, so I'll just start the battle. Oh, Q, you can hit the launch battle now.
Right on it.
You see, so I'm now moving my command vehicle out of Alpha and into Bravo. As soon as I move my command vehicle, I do not have Alpha capped anymore, and I can't call in any resupply from this sector anymore. So I'll now rush down those leopards, down the highway, get my infantry in town, and my AA ready. Now you might want to zoom in and take a look at the units. And what I've done there is using move fast. The move fast order, which you can find in the right bottom corner, makes the units use the streets and therefore go faster. You should always use the move fast command when you're trying to get your units somewhere very fast. They'll automatically search for the fastest way possible. I mean, sometimes the wayfinding, the pathfinding is not all that great, but in general it is the fastest to always use move fast. So my command vehicle is now going right into Bravo zone, which is not giving income, but is having a resupply sector. Now, a very important thing about Wargame is cover. Hedgelines, forests, towns, all kind of that stuff gives cover to your units, which is represented by your cursor turning blue if you are over cover. Always try to keep all of your units in cover, or else you might get some nasty surprises. Especially command vehicles should be always in cover to protect them from enemies just sniping them without any hassle whatsoever. A second kind of very important cover are towns. Now, towns are mainly important for infantry and can only be accessed by infantry. You might notice the town is separated into several little districts. So if I unload my infantry from the transport vehicles by clicking unload down here, I get my infantry and can deploy it into the sector. The infantry will automatically spread out and always take the best position possible, so it will react to any threats which are coming at them in a reasonable manner. My tanks are now getting attacked by helicopters. Now this is a very bad move for me because I've been rushing them down on the open field and have not got any anti-air with them. Land units without anti-air are very vulnerable to any kind of helicopters or air units, as you might see. So what does destroying units actually mean? Now the game is all about destroying units because the aim of the game is to get 1500 points worth of units. So good to know. Q Shadow has just destroyed 4 Leopard 1 tanks, which are each worth 50 points. Therefore, he has got 200 points out of the 1,500 he needs to win. This limit may change if you're playing other games, but in this game, it's 1,500 points he has to reach. So, always remember that you may also lose even if you have the high ground. You really have to use your unit economically. However, and always keep anti-air with them. Also try to get in always in cover. Now, once you've got that, you've pretty much got the basics of Wargame. Don't charge your units over open fields, don't rush, and always spread out. If you don't spread out and just clump your units all together, one single bomber or one single artillery shell might just destroy hundreds of points worth of units. I think that's it for the first look on Wargame AirLand Battle. I'll probably do a more advanced tutorial on deck creation and other important stuff later on, but I think this was enough to give you some overview of the basics of the game and get you familiarized with some of the basic gameplay concepts. Q-Shadow, anything to add? It seems not. Okay, so thank you very much for tuning into this episode, and I hope I'll see you on the next one. Farewell, Blue.